Damien, things happen, players get sent off, players make mistakes like Lingard did, but how concerning for Man United was the way they reacted last night to going down to 10 men away from home in a Champions League match? Incredibly
concerning because, throughout the season, like Manchester United are a team that was stacked with world-class players, and I don't say anybody could manage them 90% of the time. You get them in a good mood, put them on the pitch, go and enjoy themselves, they're too good. But when you get to a certain level and you get to semi-finals and finals, you need a manager that is going to make critical decisions and make the correct decision at the correct time to get their team out of a hole. Now, what happened last night was entry-level stuff, 101 basic, down to 10 men, 1-0 up at home against a team that haven't got a huge amount of to offer. It should have been a case of soak up pressure and counter-attack if the correct decisions were made at the correct time. And the manager, basically what I would describe as a paint splatter, really, of decisions, and that's what it was. When Wan-Bissaka gets sent off, he didn't look like he had a plan in place. He went back, spoke to his staff. When you're on 10 men, you're going to have to soak up pressure, but you have to relieve that pressure, counter-attack. You need pace, you need legs, and you need ball carriers to get you up the pitch, to counter-attack and tack on a second and third and see that game out comfortable enough. He took off Sancho is the first questionable decision. And now you're left with 4 players that haven't got a whole pile of legs in Van de Beek, Fernandes, Pogba and Ronaldo. It would have been easier just to shove Lindelof over, get Varane on the pitch and take off Donny Van de Beek, and at least then you still have an attacking threat up the pitch. But then he managed to compound the situation. Why or who came up with the idea to go 5 at the back, 3 in midfield and 1 up front with Cristiano Ronaldo? That decision really needs to be scrutinised because Fred was the only midfield player in there. The other 2, got to be good to them. They're brilliant, they're fantastic players, but they're never got a defensive bone between them. And Ronaldo can't run anymore. His job is to stay up the pitch. He's not going to chase those causes. You need legs. You should have been getting Mason Greenwood off the bench, Jesse Lingard off the bench, and just really soaking up pressure and giving yourself an outlet. But momentum built and built. When the man got sent off, the camera cut to the manager of Young Boys, and he was apoplectic on the sideline, screaming at his players. He knew straight away. Didn't need to consult his staff. We're playing against 10 men. He wanted it. He couldn't get. He was like a kid in a candy store. Couldn't get the information on quick enough.
He had a plan.
Had a plan, like in his top pocket. If we go down to 10 men, I know exactly what I'm supposed to do. Contrast that to Solskjaer. He stood in the dugout with his 2 assistants, both talking to him at the same time. They didn't look like they had a clear plan. They hadn't prepared for the eventuality that maybe they might go down to 10 men. And that's what top coaches do. Tuchel at Liverpool, when they went down to 10 men, made the correct decision and not only got a result out of the game, but looked threatening and you could say that they deserved more than a draw of the game. That's what top managers do. And for that to happen this early in the season listen, I've put my cards on the table how I feel about Solskjaer last year. It's well known that. But I mean, if anyone else was in doubt or still had any hope that the back end of the year when Man United are in finals, competing for leagues, must-win league games, I think he failed the first test.
Does Damien have a point, Brian? His record in the Champions League is just Champions League matches now, not the Europa League exits that they had to Sevilla and the loss to Villarreal and penalties. In Champions League only is 1-4 and lost 7. Or is it a case that whenever something bad happens to Man United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer gets the blame, and whenever something good happens, like at the weekend, it's the players and he doesn't get the credit?
Well, I think he accepts himself now that he's going to get the blame, because he said before the game yesterday that there are no excuses now that he has the squad of players that he has. He seemed, like everyone who follows Manchester United, seemed to be madly enthusiastic about the whole signing of Ronaldo, and that the club had invested to bring back one of the world's great players, be it that he's getting towards the end of his career. He may last another 3 or 4 years at various levels of the game, but he is in the twilight years of his career. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer seemed to be massively excited about it, and now we've seen 2 extremes over the space of 4 days, where on Saturday the world was their oyster and everything was well and good now that Ronaldo was there. I think he will be under pressure unless they recover this situation in the Champions League with the 2 home games they'll have at Villarreal and Atalanta. That it's not within the bounds of possibility that they can do that. I can remember early last season, Shakhtar going to Real Madrid and beating them almost comprehensively in the Champions League game, be it there was no crowd and the match was on the training ground. They beat them twice, but Real Madrid recovered to get to the semi-final. But I do think that he will be under pressure with that result, and he's got to get some consistent results. And I agree with Damien that the setup. And I mean, you're playing with 10 men when you have one player put off a red card, but when you have Ronaldo on the pitch, you're more or less playing with 9.5 because he's not going to do anything for you, bar wait on a chance to score.
Is Ronaldo a huge challenge for Solskjaer in terms of how to handle it? Obviously, you know, he's a great player. He will score goals in a lot of games, but using him in the right way. You know, you're certainly suggesting last night he didn't use them, that maybe he should have been one of the players taken off earlier, that is going to be another challenge and another questions asked of Solskjaer, that he's not, like, as Brian says, so excited about having Ronaldo here, that he manages him, gets the best out of him in the right way over the season.
You have to get legs around him. You can't leave him up front on his own as a number 9. Ploughing a lone furrow. He hasn't got the legs for that anymore, and he would probably admit that if you said to him he doesn't want to be chasing lost causes, because when you're under the cosh, a lot of the clearances, they're not balls into his chest, they're just spun down the side. You need legs to chase it, to relieve the pressure, to allow your back 4, your back 5.
Do you think the manager was afraid to take him off last night because of his reputation?
Possibly, but I think that he could have got Mason Greenwood on, and then you could have left Ronaldo and he wouldn't have to do all the legwork. If you got Greenwood and Sancho to do that legwork, he still could have conserved his energy. But to leave him up there on his own was a rank bad decision.